We have a word for being unfaithful to a partner: cheating. But go back deep into human prehistory, and that word would not carry the same legal, religious, or social meaning it does today. Imagine living in a small mobile camp, long before marriage certificates, wedding rings, divorce courts, or promises written to last forever. You sleep only a few steps from everyone you know. They hear your conversations. Notice who shares food with whom. See who sits together beside the fire. Privacy is not a room with a locked door. Privacy is walking slightly farther behind the group and hoping nobody cares. So were ancient humans loyal to one partner? The answer is complicated. Humans formed powerful pair bonds. Partners shared shelter, food, work, protection, and responsibility for children. Those relationships could be emotionally deep. That alone makes humans unusual. Only a small minority of mammal species form lasting social pair bonds at all. But a bond did not always mean one partner for an entire lifetime. That idea is much less ancient and universal than we often imagine. In many mobile foraging societies studied by anthropologists, people formed partnerships, raised children together, separated, and later formed new partnerships. The relationship could be real without being permanent. You might share one fire for several years. Then, circumstances changed. Conflict grew. One partner stopped contributing. Another opportunity appeared. Someone collected a few possessions, moved to another part of camp, and began again. There was no apartment to divide. No argument over who kept the sofa. The shelter was made of branches. The emotional problem was ancient. The paperwork was not. Among the Hadza of Tanzania, for example, marriage has traditionally been flexible, and divorce can occur without a formal legal process. Women as well as men can initiate separation. That does not mean partnerships were casual or meaningless. It means commitment existed inside a world where lifelong exclusivity was not guaranteed. Loyalty could last for years. Sometimes it lasted until death. But serial partnerships were also part of human life. Winning a partner could still require serious effort. In some hunter-gatherer and small-scale societies, a young man demonstrated his value by living near his partner's family and providing labor or food. This is sometimes called bride service. He hunted, helped the family, proved that he was reliable. Her relatives watched. She watched. Everyone watched. Ancient courtship was less. Would you like to get coffee? And more. Please spend several seasons proving you will not become another hungry adult we have to feed. Food production mattered because partnerships were not only romantic, they were practical alliances. A reliable partner could help support children, share resources, defend the camp, and build relationships between families. But did humans naturally form only one-man, one-woman partnerships? Not always. Cross-cultural records show that many documented societies permitted polygyny, meaning a man could marry more than one woman. But permission is not the same as reality. Even where multiple wives were socially accepted, most men had only one partner at a time. Supporting several households required resources, influence, or exceptional skill. A highly successful hunter, respected elder, or wealthy man might manage it. An ordinary man struggling to bring back dinner was unlikely to announce, "I think this family needs another adult." Sometimes co-wives were sisters, which could reduce conflict and connect existing family bonds. But such arrangements varied enormously. There was never one universal prehistoric relationship system. Different environments produced different customs. Food availability mattered, population size mattered, kinship rules mattered, and personal preference mattered because ancient humans were still humans. Among the Ache of Paraguay, research found that successful hunters tended to have greater reproductive success than less successful hunters. That does not mean women chose partners based only on meat. Hunting success could also signal skill, health, knowledge, generosity, social reputation, and strong relationships with other group members. A hunter who regularly returned with food became valuable to the entire camp. A hunter who regularly returned with an exciting explanation became valuable mainly as entertainment. Pair bonds were also not peaceful by default. Humans developed strong emotions around partners: affection, attachment, fear of abandonment, and jealousy. In a small camp, a suspected affair was difficult to hide. Everyone lived close together. A look could be noticed. An absence remembered. A rumor could travel across camp before the person involved had returned. Anthropologists Martin Daly and Margot Wilson documented how sexual jealousy and conflict over partners can contribute to violence across societies. This does not mean jealousy was the greatest danger in every ancient community. Hunger, disease, accidents, and conflict between groups were all serious threats. But jealousy was powerful enough to damage relationships and sometimes turn deadly. The same emotional system that keeps partners close can become dangerous when trust breaks. Still, ancient relationships were not cold contracts based only on food. Romantic love appears across a wide range of human cultures. Anthropologists William Jankowiak and Edward Fisher searched descriptions from 166 societies and found clear evidence of romantic love in most of them. Love songs, stories about longing, couples running away together, people losing sleep over someone who might not choose them back. You did not invent that feeling. Your phone did not invent it. Romantic obsession was already making humans behave irrationally long before anyone could send a message and stare at the screen waiting for a reply. Ancient people felt tenderness, desire, grief, jealousy, devotion, all around the same fire. But why form pair bonds at all? Because human children are extraordinarily demanding. A human baby is born helpless. It cannot walk, find food, escape danger, or survive without constant care. And human childhood lasts for years. One mother could provide enormous care, but raising a child successfully often required a wider network. Partners, grandparents, older siblings, aunts, uncles, friends, other adults in camp. Humans evolved through cooperative childcare, not through one isolated couple doing everything alone. Ancient parenting was less like a private household and more like a group project where the deadline lasted 15 years. In high-mortality environments, another provider or caregiver could make a real difference. That helps explain one of the strangest partnership systems documented by anthropologists. Among the Bari of Venezuela, people traditionally held a belief known as partible paternity. They believed that more than one man could contribute biologically to the development of a child before birth. Because of that belief, a child might have a primary father and a socially recognized secondary father. The second man could provide food, protection, or support. This was not treated as a hidden betrayal in the same way many modern societies would view it. It existed inside a different understanding of reproduction and responsibility. Historical data collected by anthropologist Stephen Beckerman and colleagues found that Bari children with a recognized secondary father survived to age 15 at higher rates than children recorded with only one father. The researchers suggested that additional food and support may have helped. For the Bari, sharing fatherhood could increase the number of adults invested in a child's survival. Modern people might see relationship confusion. The Bari saw another fisherman bringing dinner, another hunter paying attention, another pair of hands when life became difficult. This shows why we cannot take modern rules and simply project them backward. Human relationship systems were shaped by survival, belief, environment, and culture. What looks disloyal in one society may be accepted cooperation in another. Ancient groups were also not permanently isolated. At certain times, small bands could gather with larger communities. People traded materials, shared food, performed ceremonies, danced, exchanged news, and met potential partners they had never seen before. For a young adult, who normally knew only a few dozen people, such a gathering could transform life. One evening, every familiar face is around the usual fire. The next evening, hundreds of people have arrived. Different hairstyles, different ornaments, different stories. Someone from a distant valley looks across the crowd. Suddenly, human migration has a new reason. Partnerships formed at these meetings could connect separate groups. One person might leave with a partner and join another camp. That movement exchanged more than genes. It carried knowledge, tools, stories, and alliances across the landscape. Love was part of the human communication network. So, what about the couple that remained together for life? They existed. Some partners survived hunger, illness, jealousy, childbirth, migration, and years of sleeping beside the same person's prehistoric snoring. They reached old age, still sharing food and one fire. Such couples may have been admired precisely because they were unusual. Even today, people celebrate a pair who have remained together for 60 or 70 years. We notice, because it is difficult. Ancient people probably noticed too. So, were ancient humans loyal to one partner? Sometimes. They formed deep attachments. They cooperated to raise children. They felt romantic love and jealousy. Some stayed together for life. Others separated and formed new relationships. Some societies allowed one man several wives. Others emphasized one primary pair. Some recognized multiple fathers for one child. There was no single original human marriage system waiting at the beginning of history. The neat picture of one man and one woman forming a permanent private household from the dawn of humanity is too simple. Ancient relationships were flexible because ancient life was flexible. People moved. Food changed. Partners died. Groups divided. New groups met. A relationship system had to survive all of that. But the people themselves were not emotionally distant. They loved, stayed, left, regretted, tried again, and occasionally made terrible decisions because someone attractive was sitting beside the next fire. The rules changed across history. The feelings did not change nearly as much. Whatever happens inside you when you become attached to someone, hope, fear, trust, jealousy, comfort, ancient humans carried versions of those same emotions, long before weddings, long before written vows, long before anyone invented the word cheating. They were already trying to solve the same impossible human problem. How do you choose someone and somehow keep choosing them when the world keeps changing?